808, runway 10, clearing down.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. How are you guys doing? We're back at it in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, and today we're doing something a little different. I'm actually getting some instrument practice in. We're actually over LA right now, more like Long Beach, a little bit to the southeast of Long Beach. I've set the weather really overcast and rainy, some really bad weather, and I want to practice a VOR approach. So that is what we're going to be doing. We're climbing to 5,000 feet right now, and we'll level out at 5,000 feet. I'm not sure if that's going to break us out of the clouds or not. It looks like it's trying to, a little bit. It's kind of getting us out of the rain. But we'll level out at 5,000 feet, and then we'll start taking care of some things to do our VOR approach, and that's going to encompass a lot of different things in this airplane. Setting the nav radio, tuning into the VOR, setting your course. You know, we've got to set up our CDI so the plane will direct on it. I'm going to try to let the autopilot fly as much of this as I can, because this is going to be a kind of a task saturated situation. And to me, like, when you're trying to fly a final or an approach in bad weather, hand flying it, and you're having to put your mouse over these little areas to tune what you need, it's a lot to do. It's a whole lot to do. So we're gonna let the airplane do most of the flying that we can. We won't, you know, there is no ILS, so we can't do an auto land or whatever, or the approach mode. But we'll let it do the rest of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to fly a VOR approach into runway 22 left at Los Alamitos. So the first thing we need to do is tune in. If you look at the plate, it's got the Los Alamitos, or it's actually the Seal Beach VOR 115.7. So that's what we need to do. We need to go over here to the radio, and we'll get it down to 115. Oh, wrong way. See, to me, this is just really tedious having to set that stuff. All right, so then we need to swap it to the active frequency, and there you go, SLI. So that is the Seal Beach VOR. So now what we need to do is we need to be able to track on it. Right now, our CDI is set up on GPS. So what we do is go down here to this button under CDI. We hit that. We hit it once, and it's on VOR 1. It means it's going to be tracking nav radio 1. And now we want to, I know it's over to the northwest, so what we want to do is fly it back to the northwest. We're going to track it inbound, so that should be 300 and something. 300 and something. Okay, we just went over it at 290, so alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to change our heading. We'll get our plane turned with the heading. You know, we'll manually turn it on the heading to kind of get it pointed in the right direction. And then when we get it going the way we want, then we'll let the nav, we'll switch over to nav and let the plane guide on the VOR itself. So now that we're kind of in that direction, we're pointed the right way, 344, we're going to hit nav. And the airplane's going to go ahead and keep turning to the left. And he's going to pick up. We're going to be flying the 295 radio inbound. So he's going to fly to the left a little bit, pick up that radio, and then we're going to fly, you know, that course in to the VOR. And that will kind of set us up for our approach. Now, something else I did earlier, I wish I did this so you guys can see, but I'll show you right now. A big thing of this approach is a DME. We need a DME, right? So we can read off these fixes. You know, crust is our initial approach fix. You have RIMPs, you have a cell, you have LETV, OYAVE. So we need the DME to be able to track this stuff. Now, right now, our DME is saying that we're 10.1 miles outside of SLI VOR. So we're 10.1 miles, or 10 miles, to the southeast of it, because we're tracking 300, almost 300 degrees inbound to it. So what you want to do to get your DME up, because it isn't going to be up when you initially, you know, get the airplane up and going, you just go down to your PFD button here, you hit that, and there is DME. You can bring it up just like that, and I also brought up wind just to have it as well. So that is how you would do that, and we'll go back. So now what we want to do is we want to track this VOR in to the SLI VOR, and then we're going to track the 034 radial outbound. We want to track that outbound, and by doing that, we'll hit our initial approach fix at crust, which will be the Seal Beach or SLI 6 DME on the 034 radial, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Like I said, I'm kind of familiar with this, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. It's an aspect that I haven't done a lot in simming. Most everything I've done in all my years has just been straight up VOR approaches, or not ILS approaches, not VOR. So VOR approaches, NDB approaches, stuff like that are very kind of new and foreign to me. And I thought, what better time than to kind of go through it and figure out with you guys. If you know things about it that you know that could help me, then absolutely let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Or anything that I'm doing incorrectly or not sure of, you know, let me know in the comments, and we'll work on that. So we're tracking 295 inbound. We're at the 7 DME. We'll cross over the VOR, and then we'll circle back to the right and pick up the 034 radial and fly it outbound. And then let's see. We have to hit crust as one of our initial approach fixes. There's a few, but crust is the one that we're going for. We have to hit it at 6,000 or below, is what it says, right? But if you look over here towards the fix it a cell in the profile, it says 3,000 or above. So I'm assuming that you need to be between 6,000 and 3,000 feet when you do this. So we're going to do it at 5. We're going to get to crust. As soon as we get to crust, we'll start our descent down to 3. Now, if I'm interpreting this plate right, and I'm not 100% sure, this is where I need you guys to let me know, is from what I can tell, we can't start our procedure turn until after RIMPS, which is the SLI 10 DME. So in other words, we'll start our descent at the 6 DME. I'm thinking we'll get down to 3,000 feet about the 10 anyway, but it may be a little bit before that. And then once we get past the 10 DME, we can turn our 45 and start our procedure turn to come back in and track the reciprocal of a 034, which would be the 214. And that'll be our inbound course for the approach. So we'll get over the airfield first. We'll get over the VOR and make our turn to 034. Right now we're at 4 nautical miles out, 5,000 feet, 90 knots. Kind of got the power pulled back a little bit because we are going through an approach. So you know, this isn't a race. We can tell we've popped out of the weather, though we're still in the clouds somewhat, but it looks really, really nasty out there. This is some horrible weather. Hopefully, I'm really hoping that we'll be able to pop out of the weather and actually see the airport. Our decision height is going to be 440 feet. We're doing it with radar and DME, so it's 440 feet, 3/4 of a mile visibility. We're not worried, you know, I'm not worried you're going to get anything confused with the other numbers off to the right. This is just, we're doing the category A, 440, 3/4 of a mile. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to set my heading. All right, we're at the 2.1 nautical miles out, 2 nautical miles. So in a bit, we're going to see about tracking the 034 radial outbound from the VOR. And hopefully not hit any other airplanes in the process, because there seems like there's quite a few around us here. I see at least three if not more than that. All right, we're at the 1.5. Thinking about a half mile out, we'll make that turn. That should be good. And what I'm kind of thinking is, I'm not sure how the plane's going to react to those radials changing up like that. So what we may do is we may get a half mile out, switch to heading mode, let the plane turn to 034, and then pick up the radial after that. We'll tune the radial and do it that way. All right, you see the SLI VOR on the map right here. And let's go ahead and hit heading mode. Let the plane turn. All right, now we want to adjust our course to 034. So we're going through 320, 330. Come on, faster. All right, 1, 10, 22, 30. Oh, 34, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and hit nav now and let the plane go ahead and turn. It's going to have to turn a little bit more to the right to intercept that radial, because you can see we're to the north of the VOR now. So what we basically have to do is circle back around kind of to the southeast, pick up the radial, and then fly it outbound. So it's going to take us about 80 degrees, it looks like. All right, so we won't start our descent until crust. At crust, which is our initial approach fix, we'll start our descent down to 3,000 feet. And I'm assuming, like I said, if I'm interpreting this correctly, we have to get by RIMPs before we can start our procedure turn. Could be completely wrong on that. Like I said, if you guys, if you guys can tell me for certain, I would love to hear from you. All right, so the plane's working on intercepting the radial, the 034. I've noticed when it does that, it kind of swims back and forth through it until it finally kind of gets it dialed in. All right, so he's narrowing it down. All right, so we're at the 2.3 nautical mile DME outbound. So we're flying, you can tell here on the moving map, we're flying outbound away from the SLI VOR. You can actually see the waypoints. We're not going to worry about those. We're just doing this with the VOR and the DME.
Generic November 8063 Whiskey cleared for takeoff runway 24.
All right, 3 DME, 3 nautical mile DME, so we're halfway to crust. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and set our altimeter. Our autopilot, I'm going to set our altitude down for 3,000 feet. As soon as we hit the 6 DME, we'll start our descent. I've done this earlier. I went through the motions on it in clear weather, and that wasn't bad at all. It was very easy if I was doing it right. At least it worked out. But in bad weather, it is a whole different ball game. This cranks the anxiety up a whole lot, because we got our minimum safe altitude on the plate is basically 7,700 feet to the west. Kind of runs from the 140 to 320, but 77, we're well below 7,700 feet, and if you look on the display here, you can see the mountains in the distance. So this is an approach you absolutely want to be on point with. All right, so we're coming up on 6. As soon as we hit 6, we'll start the descent. And then we got to get by 10, and then after we get by RIMPs at the 10, we'll start a procedure turn. We'll turn 45 degrees off course, fly out for a minute, and then turn our 180 back in to intercept the 214 radial, which would be the reciprocal of the 034. All right, we're at the 6. Let's go ahead and do flight level change. Pull our power back. We'll start our descent here.
125.35 generic 63 Whiskey.
Now I listened to the ATIS earlier, and it should be, I think the ceiling is 1,000 feet, and the visibility is 3/4 of a mile, so that is right at the limit on the the visibility, that's going to be a controlling factor. Like if you listen to the ATIS and it's a half mile, then you can't do this approach. You know, of course, you'll fly down to your decision height. Your decision height may bust it for you too, but you don't know until you get there. If I'm understanding that correctly. All right, so we're through 4,400 feet. We're about a 7.5 nautical mile DME outbound. I'm thinking we'll be 3,000 feet around Rimps, give or take. You see we're starting to get into the rain now, starting to look really nasty. And it's late evening too, so that does it, the low light just makes it even, you know, darker. All right, we're coming through 3,800 feet. We're at the 8.5 nautical miles. Nine nautical miles, so by the 9 DME, 10 will be Rimps. That we have to get past that one before we start our procedure turn. And I'm going to go ahead and set our heading on this to 079. That's what we're going to have to turn to start our procedure turn, so 079. All right, yeah, it looks like it's gonna work out just about perfect. We're gonna be hitting 3,000 right about the 10 DME. Now this is the area that I'm kind of iffy about. I don't know, like, can we start the turn while we're still in our descent to 3,000, or we have to be at 3,000 before we start a procedure turn? Those are the kind of questions like that I have, because I don't know. All right, we're at 10.2. We're down to 3,000 feet, so I'm going to hit heading mode now. And the plane is going to turn us a 079. As soon as we roll wings level, I'm going to start a timer. We're going to fly it outbound 1 minute. I think 1 minute is correct. Like I say, guys, you know, if I'm doing this incorrectly or you know, got this confused, let me know. So we're wings level. Let's go ahead and start our timer for 1 minute. And then after we do that, we'll have to turn a 180 back inbound. So our new radial is going to be, I'm changing the baro. That's why I don't like this thing. I'm like changing the barometric pressure the whole damn time. And that's not cool when you're flying around mountains and stuff. Let's see, let's set this for 214 for our inbound. It'll hurry up and get there. Got 30 seconds left on our damn, it's going to take us just about the whole time just to set our course here. 214. All right, we got that set, and our inbound course is going to be, we're going to turn 256, 180 to 256 to fly it back in. All right, there we go. That's going to be our timer, so let's turn back in. 256. The plane should pretty much fly a standard turn, and that's what I'm assuming in the autopilot. I gotta go. Oh, I hate this so much. That is the most aggravating thing about adjusting this stuff with a mouse. It just really just aggravates the hell out of me. So we go 256. So we're flying the inbound portion of our barb now, and then we're going to re-intercept the 214 radial. And this is another part that I'm kind of iffy about, is like, can we go ahead and start our descent now, or do we have to intercept the radial before we can start our descent 2,700 feet for Rimps? That I'm not sure about. Those kind of questions are what I have. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and set this to 2,700. And as soon as we intercept, I think that we descend after we intercept the radial, but I'm not sure on that. I really don't know. So we're going to do it after I intercept, basically. That's the gist of it. We'll cross Rimps at, Rimps will be the 10 DME SLI 10. We'll cross it at 2,700 feet. Then we'll recross Crust, except this time we'll cross it at 1,700 feet. Crust will be the 6 DME. All right, you see we're intercepting now. We're getting ready to intercept, so let's go ahead and go back to nav mode. Of course, the plane's going to turn us just a hair back. I think now it's trying to pick it up. All right, so we've intercepted the 214 radial. That is correct. 214 is what we're looking for. So we're going to start our descent down to 1,700 feet. We'll cross, let's see, double check, make sure, yeah, Rimps 10 DME at 2,700 feet. So we're a little less than a mile out. We'll hit 27, no problem on that. Then after that, we have to hit Crust at 1,700 feet. All right, we'll go ahead and get some flaps. We're gonna get 1 notch of flaps. We're 10 miles out, basically, give or take. All right, we're just fixing to hit the 10. All right, there's the 10 DME, so we need to go ahead and descend down to 1,700. And I think on this go around, we're gonna hit vertical speed mode, and we're gonna do like 400 feet per minute, I think. 400 feet per minute. So we need to hit Crust at 1,700 feet by the 6 DME, at or above. Let me clarify that, at or above. So if we're a little above, it's not that big of a deal. A little bit, we can't be a whole lot, but let's see, we're coming up on the 9 DME now through 2,500 feet. This is so different in bad weather. It really is. It just freaks me out. That's so bad. You can't see anything other than all the other airplanes out there, but that's it. You can't see nothing else. And I couldn't even imagine like not having these displays and not seeing like nothing at all other than analog instruments. Oh, that would freak me out so bad. That just... All right, we're coming by the 8.5. We're looking 6 for 17. At this point, I'm just really hoping we break out of this and we're actually able to spot the runway. I think when I listened to ATIS earlier, it was 1,000-foot ceiling and 3/4 of a mile visibility. We'll see. We'll see how accurate that is. Oh, our speed's getting really low. We need to pick that up. Alright, yeah, we need to, let's go ahead and lower us down to 500 feet per minute. We're at 7.8, so we still got not quite 2 miles to the 6 DME. Through 1,900 feet. I couldn't imagine, there's no way you could hand fly this and dial all these little knobs with a mouse. There's no way. I don't get how you could do that. All right, so after Rimps, we got to go down to Letvi at 580. Letvi at 580. So let's do that. Let's go down to 580. We'll do 600. And we'll do vertical speed. We'll let it keep going down at 400 feet per minute. Actually, we'll do 500 feet. All right, airport elevation is 35 feet. So hopefully when we bust 1,000 feet, on the altimeter, we should start seeing it. I hope so. I don't know. It's getting dark and it's foggy. It's low visibility, so that may hurt. All right, let V is, let's see, 2.7 at 580. Our decision height is going to be 440 feet, 3/4 of a mile visibility. Go ahead and get another notch of flaps. Do that. All right, 5 DME, 5 nautical miles out. I see it on the display, but I do not see it out the windshield, out the windscreen. All right, we're basically going down to 600 feet. Let V's 580, we just put it at 600. Alright, it's coming on through. I still don't see it. I still don't see it. I don't see anything. We may not be able to do this, guys. We may not. Go ahead and get full flaps. Just in case if it does pop out at the last minute. You're at the 3.5. We go to the 1.7 down to 440. There, coming through 500 feet. We got 440 is going to be our decision height. 440 on the altimeter. And 1.7. We can go a little bit further. We actually got down, I think, a little bit low, too far out, but we'll keep going with it. Need to open our speed up. We're getting slow. I'm fixated on the approach. I'm not watching our speed. Alright, 2.5, we got to 1.7, then we have to go mist. 1.7 would be Oye right here. So we crossed Let V at 580. We were a little low below that, but that's alright, just a hair. Oh, I see, alright, I see the lead-in lights. I kinda saw them. There they are, there they are. We're getting bumped around so damn much though, and it's really hard to make out. There we go, I got it, I got it. Now, this is a military airfield, so this is the anticlimactic part of the whole thing. We can't actually touch wheels down on this thing. If this was real life, they would let us shoot the approach more likely if we asked. But we would not be able to all right, let's open up the throttle and start climbing out. We gotta watch the instruments because this is full, just about damn near full IFR. You know, the wind's blowing too, really gusty. Yeah, we would not be able to touch down on this if you touched wheels on their runway and you hadn't called ahead and arranged it, which more likely they'd probably tell you to forget about it. Then you know. You'd probably have a number to call and maybe an escort. Like I said, if it was a joint use field where it's military and civilian, not a big deal. You can do touch and goes or, you know, land, full stop, whatever you want on it. But on a full military use airfield, you better let them know. You need to let them know, and they're probably going to tell you no. Now, like I said, you can shoot the approach, you know, unless they're busy. You know, they'll probably let you shoot the approach, no problem. You're like, yeah, you know, but and I've heard of military controllers talking about letting civilians shoot like ASR approaches and PAR approaches and stuff like that. at their fields because it gives them training. And from what I understand, they have to get like they have to do so many of those approaches a year to stay current in it. So you know they'll. I've heard of actually of military controllers at like a military base, like an Air Force base or something, offering to pilots in the area to do an ASR approach or something, or like if a pilot may shoot an ILS approach, low approach, and then they'll be like, hey, do you want to do an ASR or a PAR or something like that, and they'll do it. So that's cool. I think for the most part they're pretty good about letting people you know, shoot approaches on the runways if they're not busy. If they're able to do it, just don't touch your wheels on the runway. That's just a little side note. I digress. That doesn't really apply to us in here. But anyway, that's going to do it for this one, guys. That was our VOR approach. It is actually a VOR or TACAN runway 22 left at Los Alamitos, California. If you like this and enjoyed it, please remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. Also, leave me a comment on any of these iffy areas, like when you can start your descent on final back in. Can you do it during the precision turn, or I'm assuming you have to be established on the inbound radial. Those are the kind of questions I have. Anyway, guys, take care, and we will catch you in the air next time. Peace.